Canadian cities are facing a growing number of risks. The risks are really growing exponentially, which is the worrying part. Most Canadian communities are at risk of flooding, whether it's coastal, pluvial, so the extreme rainfall, or riverine flooding, so that's rising waters from our river and stream networks of rivers and streams. In addition to that, we have communities that are situated close to boreal regions, and so we have the risks of wildfire. And increasingly, we're experiencing combinations of these events.
Disaster risk reduction it's a broad suite of opportunities or initiatives to reduce exposure to natural hazards and to reduce the disaster potential that natural hazards pose. I think the main goal with disaster risk reduction connecting to sustainable development is to not lose the benefits of development that have already occurred and to not threaten future forms of development that we're trying to achieve. When you look at the types of infrastructure that are present in urban areas, everything from roads to electrical supply to irrigation or water management canals, and certainly to stormwater drainage. The creation of adequate infrastructure to cope with current conditions is critical. We don't want a single disaster to come along and wipe out all of those gains.
When we look to asset management, to disaster risk and mitigation, when we look at this asset management with that perspective, we can look at SDG 11.5, which speaks to significantly reducing those types of risks and loss of life and economic loss as well.
Asset management is important because it helps the city tell the story about what our assets are, such as managing risk and providing levels of service, such as smooth roads or community centers or parks, to be able for the community to use them in an environmentally and sustainable manner.
Grey infrastructure are the very traditional forms of infrastructure that we're familiar with. The roads that we drive on, the pipes that deliver water to our homes. Green infrastructure is quite different in that we look at the services that nature-based solutions can provide to humans. And maybe one of the best examples of that is the services that green space and trees can provide. Tree coverage reduces the overall heat that's experienced in cities. That's going to become more important in the future when we have additional heat events related to climate change. And so we can use green infrastructure like replanting parks, tree-lined boulevards.
We have 134 neighborhood parks and 2 major parks such as Waterloo Park and Rim Park. We have about 30,000 street trees. We have about 125 municipal buildings. It took us a long time to get to where we are with our assets, and it took a long time to build them all. And it's going to take us a long time to maintain them to the level that the community expects. So we just help tell that story so that they understand why things are happening when they're happening.
We have this aim to create more sustainable urban forms and more sustainable urban communities, but again, that sustainability is being risked by the impact of natural hazards. So we really want to try and insulate our communities if we're moving towards sustainability. We want to insulate those communities from the negative impacts of natural hazards.